next week, I'm gonna get this stuff. I want to talk about Yasmani Tomas. I think Andrea brought him up on her show this week. She was filling in for Lenny. We're gonna talk about people from Indiana. Who did Indiana Wants Me? Remember that song, Taco? Indiana wants me, but I can't go back there. Indiana wants me. That's the only words I know to that song, of course. So, I wish my wife, she knows, Ardeen Taylor, of course. Thank you. Yeah, leave the door open so the whole neighborhood can hear you. That'll be fine. They probably have me on mute. But I'd like to thank guys. We will talk about people from Indiana State. I had that on my board for this week. But we got into too many other things. And it was a lot of fun on the site. Before I go, I'm going to play the wedding song from Andrea Lamont, Lenny Melnick, and thank them for being on and giving us the forum to do what we want, to do what we please. Bobby, Crawley, Douglas, King Hap, the great King Hap, of course, tune in on Wednesday night at 7. Mal Powell, never a show without you, Mal. Mal Douglas was on, Sunny D, Big Joe D, anybody named D, the great Taco, guest Paulie, guest. There were like 3 or 4 guests on, I forget. One was pretty important to me, and I forget. I'd like to play Lenny and Andrew's wedding song before I go. And see you next week. 6:30.
Yo.
Anthem.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. See you next week at the usual time, whatever time that is. Thank you.
What a show by Georgie, starting off the week with a 6:30 ditty. We might even be on the air right now. If you guys in the chat room can hear us already, we got a little 3-minute jump. Just somebody say yes, so I know that we are tuning in live, so that we're streaming.
Give us a little something.
Give me a little something like a yes.
A little
Out
something.
in Staten Island. Oh, Andrea.
Awesome.
Putting us on live. Paulie boy, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. Let's get into this.
You're in a Brewster shirt. Is that the Cape Cod League Brewster shirt?
Yes, sir. Yes, it is.
Look at you repping the Cape Cod League, kid.
The
Look at
Brewster
you.
Whitecaps. Shout out to the Whitecaps.
Little known fact is Paulie's father-in-law to be, perhaps one day, maybe, so on and so forth, was the
Maybe one day.
the pitching coach for the Brewster Caps.
Yeah, he was. I don't think he was pitching coach, but he was a bench coach. He was one of the coaches. I don't think pitching. I don't know if pitching is his forte, but
for a couple of seasons too, right? The Brewster.
Yeah,
is it
two.
the Whitecaps. Blue Caps?
The Whitecaps. 2 summers.
Whitecaps.
Yeah, he was up there for 2 summers. He actually he just missed Judge was a white cap for summer, I believe. He
Got it.
he missed him by like a couple of years, but pretty cool.
Got it. You know, Paulie, for the sake of this podcast, you might have to move because you keep coming on delay. Whether it's your phone or your internet access, South Shore Staten Island isn't doing you right. So
Yeah,
you might have to like relocate just for the sake of this podcast. I'm just letting you know. But anyway, hold that thought.
It's the internet. It's the internet in this house. But one day
South
when
Shore,
we get out
South
of this
Shore.
quarantine, coronavirus, I'm gonna
That's all
come
right.
and I'm gonna sit right next to you the whole time.
I love it. I love it. All right, 7:59, following Big George. Always a hard follow right there. But here we are with the Lenny Melnick Sports Fantasy Network. Nowhere else we'd rather be. This is the Fantasy Fam with BK, my nephew Paulie Boy on Staten
Yes,
Island.
sir.
I'm North Shore. He's South Shore. He is the apple of my eye, my nephew. Proud to be doing this with him. Love this kid. Thanks as
Yes,
always
sir.
to Lenny Melnick, the legend, and Andrea, Roto Lady, making it happen every single week. Andrea gives me a lot of heads up. I think she texted me today 20 minutes before the show came on, said, "Are you on?" Thank God, Andrea, we're on. Paulie, you never know. He might still be sleeping, but he's here.
No, I'm here. We're here.
We're really excited about it, right? Really excited about it.
Yes, sir.
So we got a jamming show today. Absolutely jamming show today, right? Because a lot of stuff happened this week. For a very low-key week with baseball, obviously. I mean, Blake Snell pretty much blew the covers off of baseball this week with his comments. So we're going to talk a little bit about Blake and his comments. We're going to talk about Bryce Harper's proposal, which is very interesting that a player came up and said, "Hey, listen, I got a proposal that I'm gonna throw in the mix." So you and
must have a lot of time on his hands.
Apparently, I think he's a new dad too, right? Like I think he's got a little one. So between like hugging the little guy and writing down a plan, I mean, the guy's got a lot going on.
Tell him to take the season off.
Yeah, yeah, it'd be good for us Mets fans, right? And then we're gonna do a little team play or association game. It's called Unrehearsed, which means me and Paulie did not talk about this ahead of time. We're just gonna throw out teams and play a little game. And do a little stardom or dumb, little ongoing little bit we do here. And what do you say we get? Oh, what do you say we get going here, Paulie, at the 8:01 hour?
Let's do it.
Oh, Paulie, quick! Did you know that last week was Lenny Melnick's birthday?
Was it? Wow.
Lenny Melnick, the legend.
How old? He can't be a day over 30.
Nope, 33.
33. Wow.
33. Wow. 33. Yeah,
he's getting up there. He's getting up there.
And oh, by the way, I wanted to ask you. I know you were listening to the end of Georgie's little broadcast. Did you even know that song that he ended with? I always like that.
I never know Georgie songs.
I like to test. I like to test your millennialism. You don't. Yeah. You don't have an idea. Not even.
Sometimes I hymn along to it. You know what I mean? Like I make up my own hymns. Like like that. I try to go along with it, like I know it, but I don't.
That hum you just did sounded a little like "Send in the Clown," so it almost sounds like you know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
But I believe that version. I believe that version was Barbra Streisand. I believe so, because someone in the chat room tell me I was right that was Barbra Streisand, "Send in the Clown." Anyway, so Blake Snell. I gotta be honest with you. I'm blessed enough that I'm still going to work and I'm driving to work, listening to MLB Network, and they start talking about Blake Snell and his comments and start to play them. And I almost crashed. I really almost crashed. I was so taken aback by his comments. But
don't listen to MLB Network and drive.
No, it's seriously bad for my health. It's bad for my health. So I'm just I don't know, man. I don't know what got me more, him risking my life, which I can get to a point, or his I'm not playing unless I get mine. I think that was the one.
That was the one that was the icing on the cake for you.
I think that was the one.
Tell us why. Tell us why.
Well, just the way that he positioned himself, the way I'm not playing unless I get mine. It's such a, first off, the term is such a kid term. Like you would
Right.
think these players, Paulie, and you're probably around Blake Snell's age, so maybe you could shed some light on this. So
Mhm.
I get it. I get it. You could be every bit 23, 24, 25, 26, enjoying your youth, have $1 million arm, all this. But don't you have a coach? Don't you have somebody who says, hey, Blake, you're in the public eye.
Keep your mouth shut.
We're in a really sensitive space right now. Not
Right,
even keep your
right.
mouth shut, but let's be a little strategic here. Let's be a little
Right.
thoughtful. Let's think this through as to what you're going to say. There's a space that exists that you can get your point across and not come off like such a D-bag.
Well, I get what
Yeah.
you're saying, but I can also see it from his point of view, like just like what Andrea's saying. He was just talking to his buddies playing video games, and I agree with her. She doesn't like the way that he talks, like kind of like a teenage rapper. I get that, but he was playing video games with his friends, and on Twitch, everything is off the cuff, as it's happening. So and they're in a he's playing games and he's reading a chat room kind of like how we are at the moment. And he's reading a chat room and people are just throwing things at him and he's just answering off the cuff. So it's not like he's really even thinking it through because he's also playing video games at the same time. You know what I mean? So he's just talking while doing other things and I'm not saying he was right or whatever, but it becomes a little uncensored and a little bit just not really thinking things through when he starts talking. How a lot of streamers are in gamer land, whether you're a player,
I
a baseball
guess so.
player,
Well,
or
just
anything else.
quick thank you, by the way, to Lenny and Mal Pal telling me that I was dead wrong with Barbara Streisand. It was Judy Collins.
Judy Collins.
Yeah. Now ask me if I know who Judy Collins is, and I'll say absolutely not. But anyway,
Wow.
I hear what you're saying about Blake Snell. But okay, I'm playing video games with my friends, blah, blah. But who shared it? Like, was it in a public forum? Blake Snell, like, there's got to be some if you're playing video games with your friends, like, is it in a public forum, Blake? Or are you that not close enough with your friends that they're now sharing your personal conversation?
So what he does is he goes on kind of like almost like how we're doing right now, except people can talk to him through a chat room and view his whatever he's playing on his computer or whatever, watching him play while hearing him talk and seeing what he's doing and talking to him in the chat room. So they're just shooting things out at him and he's just answering them while playing games and stuff. And he said he wants to get his and all that. He deserves his money. And my stance is also that the player should be paid prorated salaries determined by what the schedule is going to actually look like coming up. And I don't disagree with him, but I disagree with the way he said it and went about it, kind of like how I think you feel as well. Because there's some people who have filed for unemployment and he's worried about making $4 instead of $10 million this season, then it's kind of ridiculous and it sounds childish and not very well thought through. But it is what it is at this point, and let's just get them on the field.
I think, Paulie, I'm losing you, Paulie. South Shore reception is awful, but I hear what you're saying. I think there's a space there where you and I can agree. It's not what he said, it's how he said it.
Right.
It's how he said it, which I think we've all been in that position before, right? Like where we've said something that might have had some merit, but we said it with such crass and a lack of thought that it landed on the intended receiver or receivers completely the wrong way. So I don't buy it. I think Blake's got to be better. I think he's got to surround himself with better people to say, Blake, listen, whether you're playing video games or you're giving an interview to Fox Sports or MLB Network, people are going to be listening to you. It's the what do they call it? The labor of the burden of responsibility. That's what it is.
Right.
It's the burden of responsibility. Like That's the position you're in, Blake. It comes with the salary. It comes with being an MLB baseball player. You have to be cognizant of everything around. Andrea, you're right. He had one good season. He had one Cy Young season, then got hurt, and he's shooting his mouth off. But I hear people in the room. He has the right to say it. But for the first time ever, I'm listening to ESPN a little bit. For the first time ever, I think I agree with Stephen A. Smith, who I think is just a loudmouth all the time. But he says, guys, just shut up. Just shut up unless you have something to say positive. Like there's a way to spin this into a positive to say, listen, I'm concerned for my safety, and I'd have to think about if I would play.
Right.
And the financials come into play with my decision. All of that is a valid concern, right? Which I think he'd get more people getting on his side with this. But the way he said it, I'm gonna get I think he said bro and y'all like 14 times. And I'm like, my God, we have 33 million people that have filed for unemployment. Yeah. And those are the fans that make up the population of these stadiums. This is the fan base. Blake Snell, and I gotta be honest with you, Paulie boy, like baseball is lagging behind the NFL and NBA right now in popularity and fandom. And this is the kind of stuff that just doesn't help. And the players have to understand this. Like they gotta get this together. I'm not saying they gotta put themselves at risk, but they gotta be smart with how they're coming off here. Blake Snell makes, I think, what, $10 million a year. I think he said a $50 million 5-year contract. And so he'd make what, $5 million. And then he's talking about, I heard when he was speaking about, then I'm going to get taxes taken out, but also he's in Florida, so it's not even as bad. So let's say he goes home with $3.5 million. $3.5 million.
Right.
Like, what are you complaining about? To play 81 games? To play 81 games?
Exactly. Every 5 days. And pitch every 5 days and probably not even make the postseason anyway.
I mean, come on. Come on. Blake Snell.
Yeah, like Mal Pell saying that he respects Snell for what he said if that's how he feels. I don't disagree with that. I respect Snell for what he feels, but he just didn't through, in my opinion, and it just seems kind of snobby and all that. And of a few big Harper, Arenado, such guys who make over 20 mil a year. You know what I mean? I don't think that they should play for free. They don't owe us anything. They don't owe America anything back and play just because of what we're going through. They don't owe us anything. Come back and play for free. And if they don't feel like splitting it 50-50 with the owners, then that's understandable, but they got to come to some agreement. You know what I mean? Put the greediness to the side, whether it's the owners or the players, come to an agreement, meet in the middle, get spring training going, and let's get on the field. Like that's it. Stop with the talk and the this and the that. Get your players and your owner's room and Harper coming up with proposals. As nice as that is. And this one's saying that, and he's coming out with this. It's got to be one voice. It's got to be one voice, and they don't have that.
Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I'm listening to Mal Pell on here saying.
But he's got some.
Go ahead. You got more to say there, Paulie boy? Keep going.
He can speak. Mine doesn't matter if $1 million, $100 matter if he makes for $100 million or $400 million. It doesn't matter. He can make no money. He has a right to. They all have that right to speak their minds. But with the disagreement that they're in right now with the there needs to be one voice. There needs to be one voice. I don't disagree with they should be getting paid. But if they don't agree on how much and stuff like that,
listen.
Just
I agree with you. Paulie, I agree with you. Your phone keeps cutting out too, so I can't hear you too well. I agree with Andrea on the page. Snell is technically he's in the right. Mal Pell, he could speak his mind. It's how he said it, right? The devil is in the details. The devil's in the details. How you present things, right? That's what people don't understand. They think just because they say something and have a point. It's the message, 10% of the meat on the bone is the message. 90% is the presentation, right? Like you could say whatever you want to say, right? But if you're presenting it in a D-bag way, you lose the message. All you hear is the delivery. And his delivery and how he said it was just piss poor.
Mhm.
And I think that's the
Right.
point here, is that he just wasn't getting the proper coaching or didn't put thought into how this was going to be perceived. And that's
Yeah.
where he's wrong. That's where he's wrong. It's not the content of what he's saying. I understand it too. Like putting it in layman's terms, Paulie, if you thought your life was on the line to go back to work and you made minimum wage at $15, would you put your life on the line for $7.50 an hour? Probably not, right? And that's the perspective we got to look at it. So again, Blake Snell might not be wrong. It's
Right.
it's how he said it. It's how he said it,
Right.
right? It's the same thing
Right.
with
And it's going to bury him a little bit when it comes to negotiations and stuff to come to this agreement.
I don't
gonna
want to
hurt
get this. I don't want to let this get too political, but it's the same problem with our president right now. I think he has a lot of valid points, but things get lost, and because of the way he presents, right? I know a lot of friends that I have that are Trump supporters and support him because they can look through it and navigate it and say, okay, this is what he meant. But the way he presents is just poor. To bring it back to baseball quick, because I don't want to get too political, it's
Right.
the same thing. It's the
I
same
agree.
exact thing. Your point gets lost.
Right. And he's not even the president. He's just a player. He's just a player.
He's
And
just a player, right?
and Andrea wants to hear Harper's plan, and we're gonna get into that a little bit as well.
We
if
are.
you want to get that started.
We are. We're gonna dive. Well, I mean, Malpass also said they don't owe us anything, and I disagree. I disagree with that. I think they do owe us something. I think as a season ticket holder and a lifelong baseball fan, they at least owe us the courtesy of, I won't even say showing up, but being respectful. That's what I expect. That's what they owe us, is
Mhm.
respectful, right?
Right.
Like that. They also owe their lineage of baseball players to be respectful. I'm sure when Don Mattingly and Willie Mays and Cal Ripken heard Blake Snell say this, they rolled their eyes because it's how he said it. So that's what he owes us. That's
Right.
what Major League Baseball owes us, is
Right.
respect.
And
We
and
respect
I
them.
right.
We respect them with our time and our dollars. They should respect us in how we understand stuff happens. There's going to be a collective bargaining issue at some point. We get what happens, whether we like it or not. We get it. At least be respectful of the fan base that do pay your salary.
Yep. I get what you're saying. And I kind of reiterated what Malpal said, that they don't owe us anything, but in a different sense than what you're saying. When I'm saying they don't owe us anything, I'm saying they don't owe us anything to go out there and play for free and put their lives on the lines when they're traveling and things like that. And however that they feel that they're risking their lives, I don't think that they owe it to us to go out there and play for free, is what I'm saying. They owe it to us to give us, the entertainment and stuff like that you're saying. And I get that part. But in my opinion, they don't owe us anything if they don't feel that they're safe in their work environment. And I wouldn't want to work in a place that I'm not comfortable going back to. And if
No
they
one's arguing that.
don't feel that way, right? I know, I get what you're saying. That's why I think when I say they don't owe us anything, and somebody else says it and it's interpreted a different way, you know what I mean? So it could be taken a bunch of different ways.
Yeah. So, quick point, because Malpal asked an interesting question. What's the metric for respect? And I think you have less to lose by just being respectful in your tone, right? Malpal, you and I know the difference between respect as opposed to saying, hey, listen, guys, I fear for my safety, my family's safety, and I really have to think long and hard about this if I want to put my health at risk for a compromised salary. Let me think on this a little bit, as opposed to, yo, bro, I'm not playing if I don't get mines, put my life in jeopardy. Like, come on, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
don't
just
do that.
going about it the wrong way.
It's distasteful. You can be a kid, I get it, but just use a little bit more couth. Use a little bit more tact, right? Like, we could all get there. I don't expect perfection, but at least try. He just didn't try. It was a big FU. I got to be honest with you. That's what I felt. So anyway, I'm not going to any Rays games. Paul, you going to any Rays games? So who cares?
Probably never in my life.
Anyway, Bryce Harper. So Bryce Harper, I got to be honest with you. When I got the alert that said Bryce Harper came up with a plan, I was expecting some big joke, right? I really was. I was expecting, I'm going to read this. I don't know what's going to be. But I read it and I was like, all right, Bryce. It's not watertight, but it's not bad.
Something to work off of.
Listen, if we were talking 81 games and he's proposing 135, I think we'll take that, right, Paulie boy?
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt.
Like 135 games. So here's the plan, right? So here's kind of the semblance of the plan. They would play every day of the month, July, August, September, and October. All right. I think they're going to work in it every other week. They had to take a Monday off or something like that. But by and large, it's every day of the month. There's a 30-player roster, 30 players, right? Not 26, 30. The season would end, meaning the World Series and everything would end in the middle to late November, which might mean, depending on who's in the World Series and playoffs, you might have to relocate to neutral spots here and there. Maybe if Texas isn't in it, you got to go down there. Harper said Vegas, maybe. Obviously, that's a little self-serving because he's from out there, but at least gives you some semblance of an idea. So it's a 135 game season.
Right.
Sunday double headers, but the double headers are 7 innings, not 9 innings, 7 innings.
7-inning double headers on Sundays.
7 innings double headers, Paulie.
Wow. See,
Who was a
I
big
could get
double
behind
header?
that.
Paulie, quick trivia. Who was known for saying, "Let's play 2"? Come on, baseball history.
Yogi?
Let's play 2.
Yogi?
No.
No.
Ernie Banks. Ernie Banks.
Oh, man.
Mr. Cub. Let's play 2.
I knew that.
Obviously not. Obviously not. All right. So, I mean, I like that. I love doubleheaders. Imagine watching 14 innings of baseball every Sunday. Malpal, good call. Michael, good call. Ernie Banks. Not my young Thundercat nephew, Yogi Berra. He had to go back into the old chronicles for Yogi Berra.
Yogi had all the sayings back then.
Yogi, yep, 100%. So let me keep going with this. So 30-player roster, 6-man rotations, 6-man starting rotations. But I guess that's going to be up to the team, right? Like you can't mandate really how many. But at least with a 30-man roster, it gives you the flexibility to have 6-man rotations if you so choose to protect some of the pitchers. I get it. A universal designated hitter.
Yep.
Right? Universal DH. And then what else do I have here? 2 weeks for the World Series. Okay. 2 weeks.
When would that would be taking place in November?
Yeah, November, probably late October. Yeah, yes, November. So 10 teams in a round robin type of rotation, kind of like college.
Okay. Like a tournament?
Kind of like a tournament. By the way, Malpal's backing you up, says good. Yogi's a good guest, Paulie. Malpal's a friend of yours.
Nice.
Okay. Michael said, I'm surprised you didn't say Yogi Bear. Love it.
Close enough.
So, yeah, universal DH. So 10 teams, Paul, in the round robin. The first round is a 3-game series, and then when it comes down to the final 2 teams, it's a 7-game World Series.
Right.
What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on that?
I love how much effort he put into that. I mean, that's awesome. It seems like he's dying to get back on the field. Even though he was in a lot of agreement with Snell's comment, I think the money issue will get worked out. The one thing is that there hasn't even been, an idea for a schedule yet. Nothing like that has been, put out there really. It's just a bunch of ideas and stuff like that. So I really like what Bryce's thoughts are. I don't think all the players are going to love that with double headers and stuff like that. But, I think double headers, 7 innings on Sundays, all that, is amazing. 30-man roster. You could really get a deep look into the minor league system of your teams. Guys who are on the come up to make names for themselves out of nowhere in the shorter season. The tournament style, like the playoffs, like you're saying, the round robin. I think it's all great ideas. I really do. I love it.
Why don't you think
I love
the
it.
players?
But however they do it.
Why do you think the players wouldn't like the double headers?
Why do I think they won't like it as much?
Yeah. Why not?
I think it seems like a lot. It's 135 games in what'd you say, starting in July, August, September, October.
Yep.
They're playing a lot. They're going to be playing a lot, and yeah, there'll be 4 extra guys on the roster, but they'll be playing almost every day and twice on Sundays. You know what I mean? So it might be a lot for some of these players, and if they don't agree with the pay as well, it could be a disaster.
Well, you bring up a good point right there. If they don't agree with the pay, this 135 game season is a way for them to make up more pay, right? Like if they were going to get half their salary, now they're going to get what is that? 3/5 of their salary, maybe more.
Yep.
I'm not doing the math right now, but like now they can make a lot more money. So I think they would and should be a little bit more flexible to it. I mean, at the end of the day, the overarching, Paulie, which I don't think anybody would argue, is the health factor, right? The health factor, if there really is life's at risk, whether you agree with that or not, right? As far as these young guys playing ball, no fans in the stadium, are your lives at risk? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not an epidemiologist. I don't know what's out there. But if they decide to play, and if they're going to play, why not play 135? If you're going to play 81, you might as well play 135 and get paid more. That way the fans win by seeing more games. The players win because they get paid more, and the owners win because they're getting more in TV contract money. So if you're gonna do 81, you might as well do 135, right? If you could work it out and work out the schedule. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. As a fan, I love it. But there's a lot of points against it as well. Like Michael's saying, you can't even get them to throw more than 6 innings these days. Well, that's why you're going to expand the rosters and stuff like that, and try to get as many arms, I guess, as you could get up there on those major league rosters. And it's not a bad idea. As a fan, you got to love it. As a player, they may not like it as much, but if the pay is right, I mean, why not? Why wouldn't they want to play 135? Some of them barely even play 135 in a whole season anyway. So
yeah, I mean, and 135 is a good number because after the year after the strike year, 95, right? They played 144. So 135 is close enough to that where they didn't discount the season, right? The 95 champs were who? The Atlanta Braves. Nobody typically thinks, oh, that was an abbreviated season, although it was literally 18 games less, right? So if this season is 24 games less or 25, I don't think over the course of time people are really going to be like, oh, well, that was the abbreviated season because of COVID, blah, blah, blah. In the near future, they will, but long term, they won't. If you get an 81 game season, you will. You'll have to asterisk it, right? Even though statistically, some players are going to take a hit, but 135 you could rationalize. Like the Braves banner that says 1995, there's no asterisk next to it because 144 games is still a lot of games, right? 135 games is a lot of games. So get out there, play your game for the fans, for yourself. If you're gonna play, play. If you're not gonna play for health, I mean that's kind of my end point. Either cancel the season altogether, or play 135, or play 140. Like don't 81 game it. Play the season. Play
the season. I agree with you. I agree 100%. 82 game season is interest, to be honest, says Malpal. And with an 82 game season, I feel like I would be more than thrilled to see them on the field, but I would also lose interest as well because the end of it, it's just like you're saying, it's going to be an asterisk season. You know what I mean?
It is. So, all right. So again, Paulie boy, I mean, you agreeing here for 135 games? We're on Team Harper here.
I think we're agreeing that we just want them on the field as soon as possible, but yes.
Although,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
for the record, I haven't commented on how beautiful your beard looks today. It really
Oh,
does.
you like it? You like it?
I do. Every week I love it. I mean, I have a
Thank you.
goatee. You probably can't tell because I look like a leper because my hair grows in a really weird spot. And I got, I like the flow. I'm getting a little back flow here.
A little flow.
You know,
Yeah,
my
I didn't want to say anything about the goatee. I didn't know if you knew that you were growing that out or not.
Yeah, well, it's disgusting. My neck is disgusting. My wife won't touch me. I'm lucky. I'm lucky she's pregnant already because there's no action in the Uncle Bob household here right now.
I can imagine. That's why you're growing that goatee out. You know.
Listen, right? I mean, if I'm already, no action going on here, might as well keep it going. Anyway.
Yeah, might as well. Have some fun with it.
Anyway. I hope she's not listening. All right, so as we're talking about.
She's right on the other side.
Oh, for sure, she's hearing every word I say. All right. Yes, Andrea, another baby on the way. December. We're in no way social distancing over here, at least on the front part of this quarantine. And the name that we're going with, it's not. I know the hot name on social media right now is Quarantina or Quarantino. I'm sticking to my distant Italian roots. Paul, you're gonna like this. You ready?
Yeah.
Covito.
Covito.
Covito Kleinow.
Little Vito. I love it.
Little Coco. Little Covito Kleinow.
Little Cove.
All right.
Great.
So as we were digging into Harper's plan there, right? We talked about the universal DH, which you know me. I hate the DH. It's not that I hate the DH. I like the mix-up of AL, NL. I know some people take one side or the other, either hate the DH or love the DH. I'm actually in that pool where I like the difference between the leagues. I like interleague play where you adopt a different piece of it, where pitchers have to hit if they come over, or you put up a DH if they go over to the AL. I like it. It mixes things up.
Right.
But now if you're going to have universal, Paulie, here's the big question. I know you're all over this one. What National League teams from where you stand are most likely to benefit from having a DH based on the way their roster is currently constructed? Who you got?
Absolutely. And I've been saying it for a couple of years now, and I'm not being biased in any way, but it would absolutely help the New York Mets without a doubt the most, as opposed to any other National League team, in my opinion. Yoenis Cespedes for one. If the guy can swing a bat, I want him in the DH spot, without a doubt. You know what I mean? If he's healthy enough to swing a bat, he's the guy I want in a DH spot. As great as his arm is, he can't really run around out there anymore after all the injuries to the heels and to this and whatever else it is. He's the number one guy on the number one team that would benefit the most to that DH. They could also throw in J.D. Davis, a guy who doesn't have an exact position, left fielder, a third baseman, a first baseman. He's a great option to DH. You got a guy like Dom Smith, a guy who you're thinking about trading, you're thinking about keeping him on the bench. He's a great clubhouse guy, this and that, but he's a guy who can place him first. Let Pete take days off, maybe just swing, DH, whatever the case is. Not that he's taking at bats away, but he's given some guys a rest because he could also play outfield. Same thing with Nimmo. Nimmo's got these durability issues and this and that. These are guys who can benefit from a DH. It levels the playing field, you know what I mean? It levels the playing field in the NL and the AL. In free agency, guys don't have to decide which way they're going. They're not going to go to the NL because there's no DH. Now they could go to the NL and DH if they want to. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I think that the Mets would benefit most, without a doubt. There's a couple of other teams out there that would also benefit, like the Atlanta Braves.
Hold on a second. Before you go, you know it's only one DH, not three for the Mets. So they still have a pickle. Just one DH.
They still have to pick one. They still have
to
pick one.
And I got to be honest with you before you move on to the Braves. I think you're still in love with 2015 Yoenis. I'm not as optimistic about him. I'm more on the J.D. Davis and Dom Smith train. I actually would love to see Dom Smith play first base regularly. I know Pete Alonso made major strides playing first base, but Dom Smith is the better defender. So I would love to see him at first base and just let Pete DH, just let him take his hacks.
Yeah.
I think that's the better route to go. And being that J.D. Davis can play the outfield and he can play third, and he can, I know he's not spectacular at it, but I think Pete Alonso, he's kind of a liability at first base. But again, I want to give him credit for how far he came defensively last year.
Right.
Also.
Right. Even Mike made a good point too. Cano could DH. You know what I mean? And
interesting. We didn't even think about that, boy.
Right. Exactly.
Put McNeil at second.
McNeil at second. You could leave Davis at third. Whatever you want to do. You know what I mean? There's a lot of options.
Or Paulie, how about this one? You ready? Put Cano on the bench. Put Cano on the bench where he belongs.
Release
there
him.
We go.
Release him.
They're not eating $20 million.
Yeah.
Malpal, when you get a chance, I'm just curious. We didn't have Dodgers on our list, but who would you DH there? Enrique, Taylor? I'm curious. Throw it in the chat room when you get a chance. But Paulie, go ahead. Braves.
Yeah, so if you go to like the next team that may benefit the most from it, I'd say it could be the Braves. They got a guy like Austin Riley. He's kind of positionless, left fielder, third baseman, not the best glove. It's a guy who could just go in and rake and not have to worry about anything. You got a team like the Cubs, maybe with Kyle Schwarber. He was a catcher when he came up. He's a left fielder. He's a first baseman. No more. He could just DH and just swing and go crazy. He had a decent season last year for himself. He could wind up being a stud DH if that's all he has to worry about. There's other teams like the Nationals, maybe with Howie Kendrick, or the Padres, Will Myers. Teams like that can really benefit. With the Dodgers, like you said, I think Malpal mentioned it. I would maybe DH somebody like a Pollock, a guy who's injury prone, here and there. There's a lot of options. Maybe Justin Turner with the Dodgers. But the number one team that'll benefit the most, I think, will definitely be the Mets.
Yeah. Royals 29 boom with the Braves says Adam Duvall. I'm actually a big Duvall guy. I've liked Duvall since he was with Cincinnati. I know.
Duvall's
I
big.
know.
He's good against the lefties, though.
Exactly. Rakes. But again, that's where you start playing with the splits. And yeah, Michael Castellanos with the Reds. I mean, he's a good fielder though. Castellanos is a good fielder, I believe, right? So I don't know if you want to take him out of the field, but they signed that Japanese outfielder. I know.
Yeah.
They got the kid
over here.
They got the kid who hit 1 million home runs last year. That's the kid who's displaced right now. Is it Aquino?
Aquino. And,
yeah.
The Japanese guy is Akiyama.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right. So no, great conversation. Also want to throw,
they're
who
talking about doing that this year.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. They're going to do it this year. And the other thing I'm interested about, the other team that I'm interested in a little bit is the Padres, right? Mm-hmm. The Padres are dying to unload Will Myers, dying to. So if they're able to put him somewhere that's going to be less taxing on his body and hopefully let him hit a hot streak, they would love to move him. So that would be a great situation for them.
Exactly.
So,
that's what it does. It levels the playing field. The playing field.
So as much as I hate the DH because I like the difference in the two leagues, there's a lot of benefit.
Absolutely.
So really, really interesting stuff. So guys, just quick. We're a little bit past the halfway point today. So if you did miss anything, we talked about Blake Snell, right? And his comments and how it landed on us, on the public. Bryce Harper's plans. Bryce Harper's plans for the year, came up with his own plan. And the DH, the universal DH, what teams are in the position to benefit if there's a universal DH this year. We handled all that stuff. If you missed it, go on the Lenny Melnick Fantasy Sports Network or go on demand and play catch up. Sound good, Paulie boy?
Sounds good. And Michael's heading saying, "Paulie, you going down tonight?" I'm playing him in Stratomatic, so that'll be fun to see. He's throwing Tyler Skaggs against me. R.I.P.
Oh boy, Tyler Skaggs. My God, Michael, you must be desperate for pitching. I thought Skaggs was gonna just hang out on the wire all season. I mean, I didn't touch him, but I mean, hell, I went with Jordan Lyles over Tyler Skaggs. I was trying to respect him, but man,
he has risen. That's great. All right, Mike, take care, Mike.
Quick. I want to throw out a trivia question. Paul, you know I like to make up my own trivia, right? Like, yes, I think of facts in my head.
You love to.
I love to make up my own trivia. I don't read it. I make it up, guys. So here it is tonight, right? Here it is. Good one. All right. Who was the only player in baseball history to end a World Series game with a game-winning hit? Sorry, to end a World Series with a game-winning hit and win a World Series MVP in 2 different World Series. So the same player ended a World Series with a game-winning hit and won a World Series MVP in 2 different World Series. Got it?
Right.
Who's that guy?
Now, is that with the same team?
No, 2 different teams.
Can that be?
It was 2 different teams.
2 different teams.
Little hint.
2 different teams in this play series.
Yup. He got a game-winning hit, a walk-off hit, which should lead you into a very small collection of people, right, who ended a World Series with a game-winning hit, and then he got an MVP of a whole other World Series. Nope, Royals, right. Not Joe Carter. Great guess. Dougie Boyle swinging for the fences right here. Look at that. Edgar Renteria nailed it. 97 Marlins. And then 2010 Giants. Dougie Boyle, killing it, man, killing it.
Wow. Edgar Renteria. I didn't even remember that he won that MVP in 2010.
Wow.
Couldn't remember that.
Wow. That was excellent, Doug. Excellent,
yeah, I would have never got that.
Excellent. Very impressed. All right, Paulie boy. Let's play a little game here. You ready for a little game? Yes, you are.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
What do you got?
Let's go back and forth here, right? I always think this is interesting. You're 15 years younger than I am. I've played this game in my own head. I'm gonna name a team to you. This little bit here is called unrehearsed. Paulie doesn't know what team I'm coming up with, nothing. I'm gonna fire off a team to Paulie boy, and he's got to give me the first player that comes to his mind when I say this team. Okay? Paulie boy, you ready for this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Seattle Mariners.
Ooh, A-Rod.
Interesting. So mine was Griffey when I thought of that. All right, your turn. Go. Unrehearsed. Go.
Ooh, Montreal Expos.
Jose Vidro.
Ooh, mine's Vlad. Automatically Vlad.
It's so funny. Vidro, Tim Wallach, and Ivan Calderon all came into my brain all at the same time, but Vidro is what came out of my mouth. So, yeah, that's what happened. All right, here we go. Florida Marlins.
Ooh, Cliff Floyd.
All right.
It's the first one that popped into my head. So random.
You know, mine was Charlie Huff. You have no idea who that is.
Huff. Yeah.
Knuckleballer. He was one of the original Marlins.
Yeah.
Long career. All right. Go ahead. Hit me.
Ooh, Kansas City Royals.
Alex Gordon.
Gordon.
See, it's just I'm trying to answer quick, but then like you give it one more second and like George Brett and Willie Wilson come to my head.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
You know.
Mine would be George Brett, no matter what.
Yeah. All right. Let me think of another one here. Arizona Diamondbacks.
Ooh, Luis Gonzalez.
All right. That's fair.
Luis Gonzalez.
That's fair. I mean, they have a very young history. All right. Give me we'll go back and forth 2 more times. Go ahead.
All right. The Angels.
Tim Salmon.
Salmon. I was gonna say Troy Glass.
Oh, another good one. Good one. I think Salmon had a little bit more of a career there
Yeah.
But like they had a great contingent in that what they went in 2002 or 3?
2002.
2002. But like Garrett Anderson, he's a very underrated player. Garrett Anderson, I was listening to MLB Network on Sirius this week, and they talked about Garrett Anderson and Bobby Abreu, two of the most underrated players in baseball history. Abreu even more so, but really, really interesting guys. And Dougie Boyle, you're right.
Abreu,
Charlie Huff did start their first game ever. Charlie Huff did start their first game ever. Ready? Bonus trivia question, because we're talking about the Marlins. The Marlins entered baseball with the Rockies in 1993, I think. The Rockies had the first pick overall. Who did they pick?
Ooh.
Really tough one. This is a really tough one. Paul, I don't even expect you. I'll give you a hint. They took him from the Brave system.
Oh, I don't know. As in the expansion draft, you're talking about.
Expansion draft. Correct.
Expansion draft. Ooh, I don't know.
All right. We're going to do one more here. You ready? I'm going to give you a tough one here. Ready? Yankees.
All right. Ooh, Jeter.
Oh, wow. Passing right by Root and Gehrig and Mantle. You went right to Jeter.
Yeah.
All right, give me one more.
It'll always be Jeter for me.
I hear you. Give me one more here.
Minnesota Twins.
Kirby Puckett. That was an easy one. Kirby Puckett. Who would be yours for the Twins?
Oh, Joe Mauer.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, you're 14 years old. I mean, it would be Joe Mauer. That makes perfect sense. Royals 29. I mean, Galarraga. Galarraga's another guy, underrated. Montreal Expos, Colorado Rockies. Guy just, the big cat, right? Just swung. Guy could just hit. Unbelievable.
Yep. Oh, I loved his stance, too. He had the best stance.
Yeah. So, Doug, the answer to the question, it's a tough one because he never really made it. It was a guy named David Need. Nied. David Need. He was the first overall pick.
Oh, yeah.
David, really interesting piece right there. All right. So we're gonna dive into this little piece called Stardom or Just Dumb. Stardom or Just Dumb. Okay. We've been doing this for the last couple of weeks. We didn't have time to fit it in last week, but this is the shortstop edition. So the way this works is Paulie and I are going to talk about some players. They might have been stars in the past, or they're cusping on it. We're just going to give our take, fantasy-wise, on if they're going to be stars, if we have a season this year, or if they're just going to die and be dumb and irrelevant. All right? So I got a couple for you here, Paul. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Carlos Correa.
Ooh, Carlos Correa.
Yeah, he was obviously a budding superstar. Injuries derailed him a bit. What's your take? Where's he landing?
He's definitely still a star for me. I think I think that he has had some problems the past couple of years with his back, I think, and some other injuries that have crept up. But he was a stud a couple of years ago. Yeah, I think he still has that in him. There's obviously been a lot of talk about the Astros after what they've been through with this scandal and all that. I think there's a few of those players that are going to come out with something to prove. And in a shortened season, I think some of these injury-prone guys can really take advantage of that as long as they prep for the shortened season. Take care of their bodies well enough. But I still think he's a star. I still think he's a shortstop that a lot of teams wish that they could grab and have on their team. As far as fantasy, I would still want him. I feel like he could possibly still be, a name people like overpay for. But if you could get good value with him in a certain round or an auction draft, I still think he's a star for sure.
Yeah. But by the way, Andrea disagrees with you vehemently. She was Johnny on the spot. You're right, Malpal. Really quick, what you're saying, dumb. That he's just a dumb pick and not gonna graduate to stardom.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
he probably burned her at one point.
I'm sure. I'm sure. But
Yeah.
Royals 29, I agree with you. He's super talented. I mean, he falls into the category with another guy that I was going to wait till later, but I'm going to jump in right now with him. It's Corey Seager. That's another guy with just a ton of talent, right? But just injury prone. The Dodgers don't seem to be too patient with him. I mean, they were talking in the offseason about going after Lindor and all this. I mean, I think Seager's a ball player. I think Seager has higher upside than Carlos Correa. Paulie, what's your take on Corey Seager? I do.
Really? Yeah. See, I don't agree with that completely. I know Seager also had a lot of hype coming up, but like you said, the Dodgers are way more impatient. They don't have that star middle infielder or anything like that. But not as big on Correa. You could say maybe he's similarly like the left-handed side of Correa. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think Correa has the better. I think Correa has the better glove, and I think I would still take his bat over Seager's. Especially when they're both healthy.
That's fair. I'm going Seager though. All right. Yeah, Malpal. Seager has a better chance at stardom. His injury might not be chronic like Correa. I agree.
That's fair. I mean, because Correa did have the back, right?
And they both play, to be fair, they both play in an absolutely loaded lineup. So there's going to be a lot of protection, a lot of chances for them to swing. It'll be interesting to see where those two guys' career ends up. Next guy, Paul.
I will say though that you could probably get Seager a lot cheaper.
You think Seager? Yeah, probably.
Get Seager a lot cheaper than Correa.
I agree with you. Seager probably goes for cheaper than Correa. How much do you think Correa and Seager go for, respectively, in an auction league this year?
Correa. I mean, I think if people still reach shortstops in an auction league, he could go from anywhere from $15 to $20. I don't see why not.
I had him at 18.
People still jump all over that name. Yeah, people still jump all over the name. As much as I do like him, but I don't know if I would pay that much for him. Seager probably in the single digits, anywhere from $5, maybe $8, $5 to $8.
Yeah, you think that low? I had him at about 12, but you have him as low as 5 to 8. All right. Listen. I guess we'll.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I got him last year. I got him last year about $7, I think it was, and he was coming off that injury. So you're probably right. Probably like 11 to 12. That would make sense. I could see that.
Royals are saying Seager's going for about 3 rounds later after Correa in regular drafts. So, yeah, Malpal.
Yeah, drafts. I could understand waiting.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
All right. Good value pick though for Seager, I think.
Yeah.
Especially potentially in an abbreviated season. Less chance to get injured. We'll see what happens. So let's bring it a little closer to home here, Paulie. Another guy who's on the cusp. What do you think about Ahmed Rosario?
Yeah, before this suspended season started, going into the season, Rosie was a guy I was targeting for sure. At this point, I don't know if that's still a plan for myself, but I think this is the season he takes that leap. He batted like almost 280 last year, I think. He had that insane second half that he just went off. He almost had that 200 hit mark. I'm sure he's that's one of his goals this year, to go for those 200 hits in a full season, of course, 162 games. But I love Rosario. I think his best baseball is still in front of him. I think he's a future star for sure. A guy you would love to have on fantasy eventually, with the average, the steals. He has a little bit of pop, the run scoring. I still love him.
See, as much as I want to love him, being a Mets fan, I'm not as high on Ahmed. I'm for some reason, gut feeling, I know he's gone on some hot streaks. I just have seen a lack of consistency with the glove and the bat. And he's made errors in bunches too in his career. So I want to see something more substantial. I wouldn't go after him. Let's throw one
Right.
more
No,
guy.
that's fair. That's fair.
Let's throw one more guy here. Malpal says Rosario will never be a star until he gets better command of the strike zone. Agreed. Let me ask you just before we move on,
But that,
Paulie.
it could happen. It could happen as he matures for sure. He's still
How
very
much-
young.
How much were you prepared to pay for Rosario in an auction league?
I was probably going to get him in our league before this all happened.
And how much were you prepared to pay?
Top dollar, I would have paid. I would have paid top. I probably wouldn't have gone over 15.
All right. You know, in a New York room, you might have had to go over 15, but all right, we'll see.
Yeah.
So the last guy I'm going to throw out here because we're tight on time is Jonathan VR. So Jonathan VR had a great year last year with Baltimore, especially from a fantasy standpoint. A really underrated, top tier middle infielder, great stats, and then they moved him to Florida, Miami.
Right. Yep.
And you know, he automatically becomes the best player on the team. But what's your take on that? Was last year a lucky year, or is he going to be a consistent fantasy contributor?
Yeah, VR is another guy that I really like. I think this is his last year in a contract before he hits free agency. And that's
so.
with the Marlins. You know, as far as fantasy goes, if you're in AL only or only, it's not a guy you want to draft too high because it's probably likely that he gets traded at some point closer to the deadline. Well, whenever, that's something that we never spoke about, is when a deadline would take place for trading, but that's a whole nother story. Villar in a contract season, I could see him playing very well. You know what I mean? He gets anywhere from 30 to 40 stolen bases. If he's leading off, he's going to have a ton of at bats. You know, decent amount of runs scored. He's got a little bit of pop. He's always hustling. He's always playing hard, and I think he'll eventually get traded at some point midway through that year. So he could eventually be in the middle of a good lineup if he does get moved.
Yeah, that's a good call. I mean, Malpal, he might be an every other year guy where he has a good year, bad year, good year, bad year. Yeah, I'm on the bubble with him. I kind of like that. Doesn't he qualify for second and short in most leagues, which I typically love?
Yeah, I think outfield. I think outfield too.
Is he?
I'm pretty sure.
I love guys like that, but I'm just not bought in yet because of the consistency or lack thereof. The guy that I remember from my youth, who was the best example of an every other year guy as a Met fan, was Howard Johnson. The guy went 30-30 literally every year. People forget how great Howard Johnson was. Howard Johnson was 4 home runs away from going 40-40 one year. Right. Absolute savage, Hojo. Absolute savage.
Yeah.
So
I looked up the stats real quick on VR, and before last year in Baltimore, he had a pretty not so great season in 18. He only played 54 games. The year before that in Milwaukee, 87 games. And the year before that, he had 14 home runs and 35 stolen bases between two teams. So I think whoever, I don't know who was with then.
What I'm hearing is inconsistency, injuries, but when he's healthy, he produces a little bit.
In a 54-game season in 2018 with Baltimore, he still had 21 steals.
Yeah, I mean that's good. That's really good.
You know, if you're a guy who likes the steals and possible decent batting average,
yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I saw Royals said 15th and 18th shortstops off the board. 15th for Correa, 18th for Seager, and Rosario at 16th. Who would you rather have between the three?
Between who? Say him again. Rosario. Who else?
Correa, Rosario, and Seager.
Who would I take? You know, to be honest with you, if it was like a snake draft, I'd probably go Rosario first, even though I like Seager more. But I go just because the health is there more so, and the steals are there.
Yeah. I can't believe that Correa is actually the 15th shortstop off the board. So he may not be as expensive as I think he might be.
Yeah. Paul, you're like my stat boy. You're like you got the computer open right in front of you. You're going right to the stats. I love it. I love it. My nephew is the best. The best. All right, we got about 2 minutes left. I think
You
there's
gotta
someone
have the
coming on-
numbers. Don't lie.
I know, I love it. I think there's someone coming on at 9. If somebody can confirm, so we don't know, so we know not to go over. I think somebody said before they're coming on at 9. So we're gonna try to wrap this up really quick here. But we had a couple of things planned, but Paulie and I spoke in a previous segment about my memorabilia hobby, and that I spent $140 on a couple of pieces recently. One of them is a Walter Johnson, and one of them is a Cy Young, right? Like you guys are thinking, wow, Bobby got BK got a Walter Johnson and a Cy Young autograph. Well, I wish.
Kind
What
of.
what I bid on was literally a word that they wrote in a letter. It's literally a word. So it came in the mail. It came in the mail this week, and I wanted to just highlight a few guys. I don't know if you, Paul, can you see this?
Oh wow. Yeah. This.
So that
I
yep,
can
that is-
literally see this.
yes, that's Walter Johnson on his Hall of Fame plaque. See that right there? The word "this." I got Walter Johnson's the word "that," and then
Wow.
Cy Young. Right there, he wrote like
With some
500
scribble.
and some scribble. It's literally their homework. For $140, I bought Walter Johnson and Cy Young's homework, and I'm a proud owner of it. Proud. But
Wow. I love it.
Paulie-
That's great.
Paulie, maybe when I'm gone one day, I'll bestow them to you. You'll have their homework.
Yeah, put it in your will. I'll be sure to claim it.
You got it, brother. All right. Well, here we go, Paulie. It's 9 o'clock on the button. Again, what a wonderful Sunday night with my nephew. Thank you to we got Andrea and Dougie Boyle and Lenny and Malpal and Royals 29 and the guest Dora. I don't know who that is, but in the mix, guys, thank you for being here. At one point, we had 9 people, which I think is the most we ever had on this network.
Record breaking for the fantasy fan.
It was a record-breaking night, quarantine night. Andrea, thank you as always. We're here 8 o'clock every night, every Sunday night. The Lenny Melnick Fantasy Sports Network. Always a thank you out to Lenny. Always a thank you out to Andrea. Always a thank you out to everyone who stays in and tunes into us. Appreciate it. I know this quarantine time is tough, and you guys taking the time to listen to us, we really appreciate it. Paul, you want to end with anything?
Yep. Thanks so much. Stay safe out there. Stay healthy. Love
All
you
right.
all.
All right, guys. Thank you. See you next week. God bless.
Much love.
Ciao.